What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer taking a look at this Zark deck. So there's this trap card coming out. It's in the OCG right now, where essentially you get to cheat out Zark. Then if your opponent activates a spell card, then you get to special summon out 4 monsters from your extra deck, and one of them being Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, one of them being like Starving Venom, the other one is Dark Rebellion XC Dragon, and then there's one Pendulum Dragon monster that you can cheat from the extra deck. And I thought that's cool. I think your opponent can activate, spell card effects, but they're giving you a monster negate. They're giving you a monster that, like, if it leaves the field or destroyed, I should say, destroys all their special summon monsters. The Pendulum Dragon one, basically, like, if it doesn't destroy the opponent's monster by battle, like, it banishes it instead. And then there's just an extra body. So there's a few things that you can do. Okay, so I'm playing against Flunder. So you're playing a bunch of hand traps, Eldlich and the Dogmatika. So it's kind of like an Eldlich trap deck in a sense. Okay, so he's got Barrier Statue, which isn't an issue. So you only get 2 turns for this, like once you summon Zark. Then it goes back to the extra deck, which really isn't that big of a problem because then you can just activate another copy of it, and your opponent, like if you have an extra copy, you don't have to run multiple copies of Zark, which is pretty cool. In my opinion. So alright, so I definitely won that game, and I think this is the next game. So tons of hand traps, obviously. And Flunder, if it opens well, it wins. If it doesn't, it loses. Like, that's just kind of the nature of it, right? There's only a couple problems. Like, now I can't activate the Zark. I can't do this because Scarlet prevents you. So that's the one part about this deck that I'm like, that's like decent. I mean, it didn't matter here, obviously, but it's, if you activate this first, it's fine. The only thing is I play Trap Trick because the deck does kind of revolve around this. Maybe I might take this out, truthfully. I don't know, but it does seem to do some cool stuff because if you already have the Zark, you can banish an Imperm, and it kind of gives you an extra, disruption. But I do have Zark, so if he activates a spell card, he didn't have it in this case. He did banish this as well, which that makes sense, kind of. But he doesn't have a spell card. He's got a lot of monsters in his hand, but they're not really going to do anything. If he ever searches with, like, Eglin or anything like that, I have an Ash for it. And whatever he does end up summoning out, if it's not Mist Valley, which I don't know why he doesn't go for it here. Although I guess it doesn't really matter, right? He normal summons Mist Valley, Apex, Avion, and activate Conquistador. He negates it because he has to. Then he doesn't have a monster anyways. Like, the duel's over. So I don't have to really worry about that. But he does go for Ostrich. But I think he's out of normal summons. But even if he did go for Rabina, I just Ash it. So that's pretty cool. There aren't that many replays. This is more of just like kind of like a theory. Oh, I gotta show this one because he hit me with the game 1 GGs. So whenever that happens, you gotta flex, right? You have to. So I have, Ecclesia here. I can go ahead and activate Supreme King. And so now if he activates a spell card, he doesn't have any in his hand. But that more than anything, as well, this is just a 4,000 attack body that's hard to get over. I get rid of his normal summon. He did have pretty much the perfect out there, the Diania. I thought I lost. And it's always annoying to lose, right, to someone like this. Who hits you with the game 1 GGs, and if you actually end up losing the match, but I don't know, something inside me made sure that wasn't going to happen. So he did go for Zeus there, but I did send a Titan Cloud. I didn't send like Elder or anything like that, so definitely getting myself some like really good advantage. I can go ahead and summon Maximus, send a couple to the graveyard, get rid of one of his back row. It was Shade Brigadine. I guess this doesn't get destroyed because I tried to destroy it as a trap, and now it's a monster. I don't know. But I don't want him to be able to go into any 4s. He does attack. I have the life points, so it didn't really matter that much. I didn't know what he set. Like, it could have been the one that from the hand, but I definitely need to get over Zeus this turn. And then I can flip over Inspector Border, which is probably just the end of the game because they're going to trade there. I can attack directly. So he can't activate any monster effects until he puts an extra deck monster on the board. He did top deck a Trap Trick monster, which is pretty wild. But he's going to activate Parallel, but now he can't activate anything because of Inspector Border. So this card's just really good. I think this card works really well on the Zark engine because if they deal with Inspector Border, then you just have... The thing, like, when the Zark trap goes through, and, like, let's say you have Inspector Border. Okay, they deal with the Inspector Border. Well, then they have 4 more giant bodies to deal with. One of them is a monster negate. And I kind of talked about what the other ones did too. But okay, let's see how this match ended. 4 Trap Trick monsters. I kind of hate to see that, to be honest with you. And he gives up his Imperm. I don't know. Actually, I should not have activated Imperm here. Bad mistake by me because this triggers. Although, the thing is like, yes, he still gets a 4, but at least I know what the back row is and I can deal with it. That was kind of my thought process. I thought he was going to go for Baguska maybe, but he doesn't. But okay, I can go ahead and search there. But the Imperm was still probably just wrong. I did go for Fleur because I wanted to force out his Rafflesia. Eldlich can go ahead and send. Scarlet can go ahead and set. I can activate Eldlich effect to bring this back and get over this. And then I have a pop for next turn. Also another Eldlich body. I have the Zark thing going for me. So that's going to be a big body as well. I mean, yeah, like I feel pretty good at this point. So he did end up quitting. Like, how are you going to call GG's and then just quit? I mean, that's pretty embarrassing in my opinion, but all right. So this is pure punk. I think I run 12 hand traps, kind of. 3 Ash, 3 Effect Veiler, 3 Imperm, and no, I guess I run 12. Which may be a little too extreme, I don't know, but it kind of feels necessary because I don't have such powerful turns, like when you look at Punk and all that, they're putting out crazy boards and they can eat through Disruption. I can't necessarily do that too much, although there's not really one point of interaction, and the cool thing about the Zark deck actually is that there's not much your opponent can do, other than not activate spell cards, which of course is just good for you, if they don't for one turn, because then you still have this 4K attack body on the board. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and special summon that out. He did banish, he banished to, get rid of Scarlet, which I thought was kind of funny. Because then he doesn't have protection from battle and cards. I have another Scarlet here. I have a Conquistador. I have an Ash Blossom. So the deck just snowballs, and that's kind of like the nature of Eldlich anyways. But okay, I'm playing against Nekroz. I'm just normal summon Inspector Border. And I literally just talked about this interaction. So he's going to deal with the Inspector Border. But then that's going to be a big problem for him because that's just going to trigger this. So now I have a monster negate and all these just giant bodies. And I do run in the extra deck. There's a Proxy Magician, I think it's called, that lets you fusion summon. So because it sends it back, or I guess you could play an extra copy of Zark if you wanted to actually summon it, which I don't know. Maybe that's funny. I don't know. Because when it's summoned, it destroys all cards your opponent controls. Can't be destroyed by card effects, cannot be targeted. And then when it destroys, I mean, you wouldn't use the other effect. When it destroys a monster by battle, you can, special summon a Supreme King Dragon from your extra deck. That doesn't really matter. There's not enough, there's just not enough space. But if it's destroyed by anything, if they do end up getting rid of it, you can actually just put it in the Pendulum Zone and your opponent just can't activate Fusion, Synchro, Exceed monsters. Which is a pretty good floodgate overall. So the deck is hilarious. That's probably the best way I can describe it. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I will see you guys next time.